if you believe in yourself and you follow your gut and your instincts, you're able to live with the results. But if you listen to somebody and they steer you in the wrong direction and you lose out, that's very hard to live with.
You might want to brace yourself for this one, Brian, because what's coming next will make your jaw drop. The mystery behind the Charlie Kirk shooting just flipped upside down, and guess who's at the center of it now? Ice Cube! Yes, that Ice Cube! The same man known for calling out powerful people is now stepping right into one of the wildest stories in America. For months, folks have been scrambling to figure out what really happened in Charlie's last hours, and everything's been chaos. But Ice Cube says he's got info that ties all the missing pieces together. Stuff that could change everything. He's claiming to know what went down in those final 48 hours before the shooting. And what he's saying, it's shaking the internet. Ice Cube believes it wasn't random at all, that something bigger, darker, and way more organized was in play. And here's where it gets downright explosive. Ice Cube is hinting that foreign intelligence was involved, and that certain people inside Turning Point America, plus a well-connected Jewish rabbi, allegedly pushed Charlie to attend that Utah event, the very same one that ended in tragedy. That's no coincidence, at least not in Ice Cube's eyes. He says Charlie was guided there by forces who knew exactly what they were doing. For anyone who's been watching this case unfold, it's been a storm of contradictions. The Fed's story doesn't match the timeline. Witnesses say one thing, and the evidence keeps changing. People online have been side-eyeing the official report since day one because nothing about it feels real. From who pulled the trigger to why it happened, everything's fuzzy. So, when Ice Cube stepped in with this new angle, the entire investigation suddenly got a whole lot messier. Now, if there's one person who isn't letting this go,
but in the end, he had, like 24 hours before he was killed, he had basically lost it and said, I'm leaving the pro-Israel cause. And this is before he's going to go on a nationwide campus tour where he's going to be bombarded with questions about Israel. This could have been potentially disastrous for the Israel lobby and the cause of Israel in the United States to have its most important non-governmental Gentile asset actually criticizing or entertaining criticism of Israel at these gigantic kind of arena size event.
It's Candace Owens. She's made this personal. And when Candace digs her heels in, she doesn't stop until she hits the truth. Charlie wasn't just a colleague to her. He was a friend, someone she respected. Watching him lose his life live on air, that's the kind of image that burns into your mind forever. But Candace isn't just posting online. She's coming with receipts and tearing the Fed's version to pieces. She's been going line by line through that official report, and she says it's full of holes. The FBI's version claims they caught the shooter, a young man named Tyler Robinson, whose parents supposedly turned him in after finding their father's missing gun. Sounds too neat, doesn't it? Candace thinks so too. According to her, the FBI spun that story to calm the public down while hiding the real shooter's identity and motive deep under the rug. She says Tyler Robinson was just a scapegoat, a regular guy who got trapped in a setup. And when you look at how fast the case wrapped up,
Charlie sustained this gunshot wound just to the left of the midline of where your larynx sits, right about here. And then almost immediately you see this flow of blood, and it's kind of a dark venous kind of blood, which might give I don't have any records in front of me right now, might give an indication that this was a venous strike in addition to maybe an arterial strike. Arterial blood kind of pumps out.
It does start to look suspicious. Candace believes the Bureau wanted the headlines gone, not the truth found. And here's where things turn international. Candace has been dropping hints that this wasn't a simple domestic crime. She's suggesting something global, something involving foreign intelligence operations. She never said the name directly, but the internet picked up on her tone, and people started whispering about Israeli intelligence being involved. Her theory? The shooter wasn't just anyone. He was a trained foreign operative who knew exactly where to hit. Crazy, right? But what really threw gas on this fire was when a top neurosurgeon stepped forward to back up what Candace was saying. After studying the reports, he claimed that the bullet hit Charlie with surgical precision, straight through a major artery, dropping him almost instantly. That level of accuracy doesn't come from an amateur with a borrowed gun. That's the work of someone with serious, elite training. So when Candace said this had all the signs of a professional hit, people stopped rolling their eyes. They started paying attention. Suddenly, all those conspiracy labels didn't sound so crazy anymore. Even while trolls tried to tear her down online, she doubled down with more screenshots, leaked documents, and unanswered questions that made the feds squirm. Every time critics came for her, she came back sharper and louder. Then came the bombshell that blew up the whole conversation.
This neuromuscular response that you see immediately with Charlie, where his posture changes, kind of grips, I think it's one hand, and he goes into this kind of contracted appearance, and then he falls over. That's, and I do believe this. I do believe that it was a catastrophic wound. I think that even if you had a team of cardiothoracic surgeons that were standing by, neurosurgeons augmented by various, if you had them standing physically there, he would not have survived this round.
Candace claimed that Charlie had rejected a $150 million donation from a major company allegedly tied to Tennessee and Yahoo. According to her, that money wasn't clean. It came with an agenda. They wanted Charlie to keep pushing a pro-Israel narrative through Turning Point America, but Charlie refused. Candace says she's seen proof that he was ready to walk away from that deal entirely, just days before everything went down. That revelation hit social media like an earthquake. Hashtags erupted, timelines flooded, and people started asking, did Charlie lose his life because he said no to the wrong people? Fans, reporters, and even political insiders started piecing things together, and none of it looked good. And it didn't stop there. Because once people realized Candace wasn't alone in saying Charlie was preparing to shift his stance, a flood of new voices joined in. Anonymous insiders from Turning Point America, former donors, and even a few ex-staff members started whispering about strange changes behind closed doors in the weeks before Charlie's last appearance, and what they described, absolutely chilling. One insider who claimed to have worked side by side with Charlie said he was planning a complete overhaul of Turning Point America, cutting ties with foreign funders and rebuilding the group to depend only on American backers. Sounds patriotic, right? But here's the twist. Those foreign donors were allegedly connected to powerful tech giants and private defense companies.
But in the end, he had, like 24 hours before he was killed, he had basically lost it and said, I'm leaving the pro-Israel cause. And this is before he's going to go on a nationwide campus tour where he's going to be bombarded with questions about Israel. This could have been potentially disastrous for the Israel lobby and the cause of Israel in the United States to have its most important non-governmental Gentile asset actually criticizing or entertaining criticism of Israel at these gigantic kind of arena-size events.
If Charlie was really preparing to pull the plug on them, that could have meant shutting off a massive flow of secret money that had been quietly fueling the whole operation for years. That revelation changed the entire story, because if what these insiders are saying is true, then Charlie Kirk wasn't just another political figure. He was a man standing up to forces much bigger than anyone realized. And now, the question echoing across every social platform is the same. Was his silence the price of defiance? Another insider came forward to independent journalist Rachel Sanders, and what they said made chills run down everyone's spine. According to them, Charlie had become increasingly paranoid in his last few weeks. He reportedly told his team to stop sending sensitive internal files through email and instead ordered that all talks about funding deals be done in person or through encrypted apps only. That sudden change didn't come from nowhere. Many now believe Charlie had discovered something that made him feel like he was being watched every second. Then came the whistleblower known only as Mark, who dropped screenshots that turned the internet upside down. He claimed they were text messages between Charlie and a mystery board member. In those alleged messages, Charlie warned, "Foreign influence is creeping into our narrative," followed by the now viral line that shook everyone. "They don't want influence, they want control." That text was timestamped just 72 hours before his Utah speech, the one that changed his life forever. Candace Owens wasted no time jumping on that leak during a fiery live stream. She said, "If those messages are real, it confirms everything I've been saying." Charlie was about to expose something massive, and someone made sure he couldn't. Her comment section exploded instantly. Viewers were connecting dots, making charts, posting theories, and even skeptics had to admit there were just too many coincidences for this to be shrugged off as internet nonsense. But it didn't stop there. things got even darker inside Turning Point America. Not everyone was thrilled about Candace poking around in the organization's secrets. Within days of her first stream, 2 ex-staffers who openly supported her suddenly had their contracts canceled. Their exit letters? They cited conflict of interest and unauthorized communication with outside media. Really? Both at the same time? People online weren't buying it, and neither was Candace, who clapped back saying, "They're trying to erase anyone who speaks the truth." Meanwhile, digital detectives were on overdrive. They uncovered strange money trails tied to a mysterious shell company called Blue Horizon Strategies, a name that would soon dominate every headline. This company reportedly donated heavily to Turning Point during the year before Charlie's passing. And get this, it's allegedly linked to a high-level tech executive connected to both Tenet and Yahoo, the very same names Candace's theory keeps circling back to. And that's not even the wildest part. The registered address for Blue Horizon Strategies wasn't in DC or New York. It was in Tel Aviv. Yep, the address reportedly leads back to a law firm known for handling international public relations partnerships. So when Candace kept hinting at foreign involvement, it suddenly didn't sound like a stretch anymore. Everything she'd been suggesting now had a digital paper trail that pointed overseas. Then a former Turning Point donor jumped into the chaos with a shocking post on X, formerly Twitter. He said he'd been approached by a strategic communications group pushing him to keep funding Turning Point's pro-Israel campaigns, weeks after Charlie allegedly said he wanted to move away from them. The donor wrote, "It felt coordinated, like they already knew Charlie wouldn't be around to push back." That post disappeared within hours, but screenshots spread faster than wildfire. As this storm kept growing, people started combing through video footage from Charlie's final public event, frame by frame. In one clip, just seconds before his speech, Charlie's seen standing backstage, glancing nervously over his shoulder, like he felt someone's eyes on him. A nearby security guard leans in and says something under his breath, and Charlie's face instantly changes. His smile fades for a moment before he forces it back on and steps into the spotlight. That 6-second clip has now been viewed millions of times, with fans analyzing every blink and twitch, and it gets even more unsettling. A former security consultant came forward, saying he slowed the video down and spotted what looked like a tiny laser dot moving across the stage floor moments before the shot went off. No one's confirmed that detail yet, but just that claim alone sent social media into chaos. Some say it's nothing but camera glare. Others swear it's a sniper mark that got overlooked in the official footage. And let's not forget, that same Utah talk was the very one Ice Cube said looked suspicious from the start. Turns out the guest list wasn't open to the public at all, only select donors, a handful of reporters, and certain international observers were cleared to enter the room. Even some of Charlie's regular staff weren't allowed inside. How does that make sense for a massive event tied to one of America's biggest conservative figures? Something about it just doesn't sit right, and now everyone's wondering what was really going on behind those closed doors. Things took an even darker turn when reports surfaced that 2 attendees from that Utah event flew out of the country the very next morning, one to Israel and one to Switzerland, before investigators could even question them. Both of them, according to sources, worked for companies tied to data analytics and cybersecurity contracts. When that detail dropped, people online lost their minds. "You mean to tell me the feds couldn't even stop them before they got on a plane?" One viral post shouted. It was pure outrage, and rightfully so. By then, Candace Owens had gone from commentator to full-blown investigator. She started publicly demanding a completely independent probe, calling for every email, travel record, and call log linked to Turning Point's top donors and affiliates to be released. "If they have nothing to hide," she said, "then prove it." That statement hit hard and instantly ruffled feathers inside the organization. Within days, Candace's name mysteriously disappeared from Turning Point's event flyers and social media posts. Her upcoming appearances were postponed, and even a few of her close colleagues stopped returning her calls. That's when Candace went nuclear. She blasted out a single post. "If you try to silence me, you're only proving my point." Just one line, and it exploded. Over 10 million views in less than a day. Fans flooded her comments, calling her fearless, while critics accused her of spreading panic. But one thing was clear: no one could stop the storm she'd started. At this point, the story had spun way beyond Turning Point's control. Independent journalists began reaching out to Ice Cube for his side of things, while foreign outlets jumped on the story, Political commentators from every camp started weighing in. Some accused Candace of stirring chaos. Others praised her for daring to confront a system that silences truth. No matter what side people took, one fact was crystal clear. This wasn't just a scandal anymore. It was a full-blown international firestorm. And then, another leak dropped, one that changed everything again. This time, it came from a former FBI analyst who went by the alias CR. In a lengthy thread, CR claimed that the Bureau's official report left out key ballistic data, including the shooter's exact firing angle. According to him, that missing detail could expose whether the shot came from the crowd, a nearby rooftop, or, get this, a drone. A drone of all things. That claim threw the internet into pure panic mode. The thought of a drone being used in a high-profile hit sounded insane, until tech experts started weighing in. Several confirmed that the exact type of wound described in Charlie's autopsy could technically be caused by a precision drone shot equipped with modified long-range gear. Suddenly, every so-called crazy theory that had been mocked online didn't seem so impossible anymore. By now, the question wasn't just who fired the shot, it was why. Was Charlie's death tied to corporate greed, political revenge, or something much deeper, involving global power networks and speech control? Candace's investigation had cracked open a door someone clearly wanted locked forever, and now everyone could see the shadows moving inside. Then came the line that gave the whole internet chills. Candace teased she had one final piece of evidence she hadn't dropped yet. She posted, "There's one file left. When I drop it, everyone will understand. No one knows what's inside that file. Emails, contracts, maybe even names. But she promised it'll prove that Charlie's death was no accident." Fans are holding their breath, waiting for the day that file drops, while others wonder how far she'll go before someone tries to stop her. And just when everyone thought things couldn't get any messier, boom! Journalist Max Blumenthal stepped in, backing up every word Candace had said about Charlie rejecting the pro-Israel agenda. He didn't hesitate one bit, saying flat out, Charlie was pulling away from that narrative, and people in high places weren't happy about it. That quote lit the internet on fire. In seconds, Blumenthal's name was trending, and the story took on a whole new life. Candace wasn't playing around either. She followed up with receipts. She dropped a screenshot from a private chat between Charlie and someone inside Turning Point America. At first, people doubted it, thinking it was another fake leak made for attention. But then, the truth hit like lightning. Josh Hammer, an actual Turning Point staffer, came forward and confirmed it was real. He admitted he was the one texting Charlie in that conversation. The moment he confessed, the internet exploded. Thousands started digging into his social media, connecting dots like digital detectives on overdrive. And what they found made everyone's skin crawl. Just one day before the shooting, Josh had replied to a 12-year-old Trump tweet that read, "There should be public executions for all to see." "You'll end this nonsense fast," Josh's reply. Just two eerie words. Public execution. The timing was unbelievable. That tweet resurfaced instantly, and the internet went berserk. People began connecting every thread, the leaked chat showing Charlie's doubts, that chilling tweet, and Candace's claim that Charlie didn't even want to attend the Utah event, but someone convinced him to go anyway. Now, everyone's asking, was it Josh? Hashtags like hashtag Josh knew and hashtag who told Charlie started trending, and his entire online history was suddenly under a microscope. But it still wasn't over, because just as the noise reached its peak, Ice Cube came back swinging. And when Ice Cube speaks, people listen. He added fuel to the inferno, saying what most were too afraid to say, that Charlie's death didn't look random at all. He insisted it was something deeper, suggesting that foreign intelligence might have been involved, and that Charlie may have been betrayed by people inside Turning Point itself. Ice Cube didn't sugarcoat a thing. He said, how does a man who's been getting death threats, a man with a family and kids, walk onto a stage with barely any security? That makes zero sense. You don't ignore a threat like that unless someone close tells you everything's fine. And he wasn't wrong. The crowd went wild online asking the same question. How could someone under that kind of threat walk into danger so unprotected? Was it just poor planning or something much more sinister? According to Ice Cube, the lack of real security that day didn't just look suspicious, it screamed setup. He said the whole event felt strangely relaxed, like every warning and threat that had surrounded Charlie suddenly vanished overnight. Cube also brought back that same leaked screenshot Candace Owens had shared, the one between Josh Hammer and the unnamed man, and he said that message thread might be the biggest clue of all. He claimed it could expose who was truly pulling strings behind the scenes before everything went down. Right after that, online investigators went wild. People started zooming in on screenshots, matching timestamps, decoding usernames, trying to figure out who that mysterious, unnamed man really was. Some said he was another Turning Point insider, while others believed he had ties to foreign intelligence circles. Then things got weird. Some of Cube's posts about the story suddenly disappeared overnight. Fans noticed his account showing signs of restriction right after he mentioned international connections. Coincidence? Nobody's buying that anymore. Now, with both Candace Owens and Ice Cube standing firm, both pointing toward the same chilling theory that this was no accident but a calculated hit, the narrative completely shifted. What once sounded like conspiracy chatter suddenly started to feel like a coordinated cover-up, unraveling in real time. Social media turned into a battlefield, half the internet saying Candace and Cube are risking everything to reveal the truth, while the other half warned they're walking straight into danger. But one thing's certain, the harder people try to silence them, the louder they get. They refuse to back down. And every time someone calls them out, they double down with more details, more receipts, and more conviction. And Ice Cube left fans speechless when he dropped one unforgettable line during an interview. If you silence one man for telling the truth, 10 more will speak up louder. That quote hit like thunder. It's been replayed millions of times, echoing across every platform. Now people can't stop asking, what was the truth Charlie Kirk was about to reveal before everything changed? And who didn't want that truth to ever be heard? But Cube wasn't done yet. Not even close. Just when everyone thought he'd said it all, he dropped one last bombshell that sent shockwaves across the internet. He teased that he knew exactly who that unnamed person in the leaked chat really was. And that single tease alone sent social media into a frenzy. People were losing their minds in real time. Threads blowing up, theories spiraling out of control. And then, out of nowhere, Cube said the name everyone had been desperate to hear. According to him, the redacted name in that chat was none other than Rabbi Psaki. That revelation detonated across every corner of the internet. Ice Cube didn't stop there. He went on to allege that Rabbi Psaki and Josh Hammer were both connected to something far darker than anyone could have imagined, allegedly working with foreign intelligence to orchestrate Charlie's final event. In Cube's words, what happened to Charlie wasn't random, it was strategic. He claimed the tragedy was meant to send a terrifying message to other influencers who were thinking of stepping out of line. Go against us, and you'll end up the same way. That idea, that Charlie's shooting was used to scare others, sent fans into a total meltdown. Comment sections turned chaotic, with people saying things like, Charlie didn't realize who he was dealing with until it was too late, and once you take their money, they own you forever. Others compared the whole situation to a toxic relationship, saying if someone sent a message like, I'm leaving you, I won't be bullied, and then was gone 48 hours later, everyone would know who to suspect. And fans didn't hold back. They went after Josh Hammer directly, calling him manipulative and cold, accusing him of trying to spin Charlie's messages as nothing but stress. But when people read those texts again, it was clear Charlie wasn't venting. He was done. Those words sounded like closure, like he had made peace with his decision to walk away from that pro-Israel narrative once and for all. Now, the internet split once again. Some say Ice Cube's doing what no one else dares, exposing a side of the story others are too scared to touch. Others think he's going too far, claiming there's still way more to uncover before pointing fingers. Either way, one thing's certain, this mystery isn't anywhere close to being solved. And every new name thrown into the mix just makes the whole thing darker and more twisted. So what do you think? Was Ice Cube right about the rabbi being connected to Charlie Kirk's tragedy? Or is there still an even bigger truth waiting to come out? Let us know what you believe in the comments below. And make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video if you're following every shocking twist in this case. And hit that bell icon so you don't miss the next drop, because this story is only getting wilder. Stay tuned, because we'll see you in the next one.